Today on Tricrow Studios, we compare a Fender, an all parts, and a Musiclily 11-screw Stratocaster pickguard and see how it fares in an American Stratocaster. So first and foremost here we have a Fender American Series Stratocaster. So this is a 2000 model. It originally came with a mint green pickguard. However, when I bought it, it came with a black pickguard. And I would like to bring it back to what it originally was. So basically what happened was, because this is an ash body, I was in the store when I bought it and I saw white and I was like, ash! It should be a white pickguard, not mint green, and I was wrong. That's where I got the all parts. Then at that point, I decided, you know what, I'll try out the white, but I should get a mint green, and I wanted to try out the Musiclily, the like $11 or probably like $8 or $9 US, just to see how it fared, whether it covered it or not, and whether it looked right. Then, after getting that, and seeing that it's not exactly the exact same shape as a Fender pickguard, I had to order the Fender pickguard, which is not cheap. So what are some of the differences? The Fender has this really weird indentation here, which is hidden under the fretboard, not a big deal. The Fender one, reading reviews on it, some people have complained that these come all scratched up, so they must be used, but these come with a protective film on it, just like when you buy a guitar new, so if you take it off, it looks brand new. There's no indentation on the Musiclily or on the all parts, but the other ones have shielding on the back, whereas the Fender one does not. So I know those of you out there are going to be asking, hey, what's the difference of the size, or what was I saying about the Musiclily pickguard? Because honestly, this is the best option to go with budget-wise. But here's the big difference. It's still basically the same thickness. I mean, it's ever so slightly thinner, not exactly noticeable. However, the little horn that's here on the Musiclily is much thinner and much sharper than a regular Fender one, whereas the all parts has the same form factor. When putting all three of them together to see if the screw holes line up, the all parts and the Fender, putting them together, they line up very, 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 very close. It's like ever so different. But the Musiclily one here, lining it up with the Fender, it's a little more off when you're lining things up. Will it still work? More than likely, we're going to find out. Alright, so here we have the Musiclily. I'm not actually going to like restring everything or what have you. But lining things up, we have matching hole, matching hole, matching hole, matching hole, like ever so slightly off, but I think it would fit. Matching hole, matching hole, matching hole, matching, ever so slightly off, matching hole, and ever so slightly off. But it looks like it would fit. Now the big question here, because this portion is thinner, it actually doesn't look that off. Just in direct comparison with the other pickguards, it does. But the concern is always like, maybe is the pickguard not gonna actually cover everything? But it does, which is great. Now here we have the all parts, which it'll line things up properly. Definitely covers everything. We have the right thing here. When you're looking at the screw holes,
lines up perfectly, slightly off, perfectly, slightly off, way off, lines up perfectly, and lines up perfectly. So the all parts is actually off. Now here is the Fender. Now I do have to say this is a 2000 model, so it's an American series, so perhaps, yeah, I don't know what to say about this one. But, correct edging and everything here. We have, if you line things up properly, I'm going to go this way. Lines up perfectly, 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 and complete miss. The screw hole is actually like over here. Let me grab the all parts. And if you see in comparison, that screw hole should be here, not here. So that is a little messed up. Means in order for me to use the Fender, Pickguard, that means I'm going to have to actually put a pilot hole here, which is messed up. But I am going to use the Fender Pickguard because I spent so much on it, and it is the correct color, whereas the Musiclily one, like, it's ever so slightly different. But yeah, that's, gotta say, this one here, as far as the holes, I mean, sure, they're going to be off a little, but it seems like this fits a little better than the Fender one. It's just this is off, and whether that matters to you or not, who knows. But I do want to keep this the correct color and everything. It's just an extreme shame that that hole is in the wrong spot. Alright, so one thing to note here, because I'm just realizing now I'm a little stupid. This is the Fender 62 pickguard. So I may have ordered the wrong pickguard. Because if you see here, this is a vintage spec Strat. This hole lines up perfectly. Whereas on all of my other, like American Standards, Deluxes, and the Deluxe Strat Plus, they're the wrong one. So when you're getting the pickguard, if you're getting the Fender one, don't get the 62. Maybe look for a different one.